Good afternoon and welcome. This is Lunchtime News here on TV1. This is News First, where the people come first. Bringing you the news this afternoon, I'm Mariam Gunamujaya. First up, please a look at your headlines.
Forthcoming hours decisive. New Prime Minister expected to be sworn in. Meetings between party leaders. People in fuel queues during 7-hour curfew window. Public transport services disrupted. Plans to sell Uchimunia Island to a Swiss company. More than 100 millimeters of rainfall expected in many areas. Brazil's energy minister replaced over fuel price hike.
In your lead story this afternoon, the leaders of parties in Parliament met today. Speaker Mahinda Abeyewardene chaired the meeting that began at 9 this morning.
Speaker Mahinda Abeyewardene says the suggestions of party leaders on the way forward would be sent to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa today. He said suggestions cover many aspects, including forming a stable government and ensuring the safety of parliamentarians.
Independent lawmakers have come up with 3 names to be nominated for the post of Prime Minister. But Sri Lanka Freedom Party leader Maithripala Sirisena says the names have not been sent to the President. Nimal Siripala de Silva, Dallas Alha-Perma and President's Counsel Vijayadasa Rajapaksa are the nominees. Moving on, Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca has refused to accept any position under President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The opposition lawmaker has condemned any attempt to mislead the people through false propaganda. He says he will stand unconditionally with the demands of the people involved in peaceful protests. The parliamentarian says he will not be a part of resolving the crisis without consulting the protesters at Golface Green. Moving on, the Janata Vimukti Peramuna says President Gotabaya Rajapaksa should step down to achieve any political solution in the country. JVP General Secretary Tilwin Silva says a new government must be formed by seeking a new mandate from the people. He told reporters that an interim government must be formed for about 6 months before an election. Moving on, the protests at Golface opposite the President's office in Colombo is running for its 34th day today.
For more than a month, people from all walks of life have gathered at Golface opposite the President's office in Colombo. They have been demanding the resignation of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa as issues continue to mount, leaving people helpless. Protesters say they will continue the silent demonstrations until their demands are met.
A trade union collective held a silent protest near the half-stop courts today.
Trade unions held a demonstration opposing instructions issued by the police to remove the Gota Gogama protest site at Golface. Police didn't take any action against those who were involved in attacking the youth at the Golface protest. Now the same police officials are requesting a court order to remove the youth who are protesting at Golface. This is a joke. Is this the democratic practice in this country? Who are the police representing here? Police are attempting to obtain a court order against the Gota Gogama protest. They are attempting to disperse the protesters. At one point even the president said that he admired these protesters and their creativity. He said these are patriotic youth. That is what he said, but his actions are different. He continuously attempted to disperse this Gota Gogama protest site through various ploys. Now they are trying to obtain an interim order from the court in an attempt to disperse the protest. A few days ago, the president staged an attempt through the Prime Minister to send drunk protesters to attack the protest at Golface. The police has failed to arrest former Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, who orchestrated this attack. We tell those who are eagerly waiting to become Prime Minister that this is not a time for political gains. We must use this struggle to at least abolish the executive presidency and achieve a political victory for the people. They have sent his brother home instead of sending Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Gotabaya Rajapaksa is attempting to put someone else in the Prime Minister's seat and ensure his powers and positions. That is not what the people demanded. The people demanded the President, Prime Minister and this entire government to step down. Yesterday, the police made an announcement at Golface demanding the protesters to leave.
Meanwhile, several trade unions have launched a protest at the Thelwatha junction in Negombo.
Trade unions are protesting at the Thelwatha junction in Negombo. They are demanding to withdraw emergency regulations and to arrest those who stirred the unrest in the country this week.
They are trying to pin the blame on us. The country is in this situation today due to the barbaric attack on peaceful protests at Golface. We haven't ended our struggle yet. We have achieved victory to a certain extent. Our demand is that the Rajapaksa family must be sent home. Gotabaya must be removed from his position as president.
අපි ජයග්‍රහණයක් යම් ජයග්‍රහණයක් ලැබලා තියෙනවා කෙසේ නමුත් අපේ ඉල්ලීම තමයි මේ රාජපක්ෂ රෙජිමේම මේ පවුලම ගෙදර යන්න ඕනේ ගෝඨාභය අනිවාර්යෙන් ජනාධිපති ධූරයෙන් ඉවත් වෙන්න ඕනේ එයයි අපේ ඉල්ලීම.
In news making headlines this afternoon, fuel queues were seen in many areas today after curfew was lifted this morning. There were long queues at filling stations as people try to fulfill their needs before curfew is to be reimposed at 2 p.m. This morning, I visited a filling station at Town Hall in Colombo, and this was the situation. Let's take a look. What we're witnessing right now is a situation at a filling station in Town Hall here in Colombo. You can see a long queue of vehicles extending to maybe 1 kilometer waiting to purchase fuel at this filling station here in Town Hall. Now, as we know, the island-wide curfew that was imposed in the country on Monday was lifted at 7 a.m. today and will be reimposed at 2 p.m. once again. And these people are here to purchase fuel within that 7-hour period of curfew. Now, what we can also see is vehicles including cars, three-wheelers and bikes waiting to purchase fuel at this filling station as well. Here is a look at the queue in the filling station here in Town Hall in Colombo.
In Anuradhapura, 200 kilometers from Colombo, petrol was sold at only one fuel station. Many filling stations remained closed, a sign that Sri Lanka is running out of fuel stocks. In Valampitia, a suburb of Colombo, a filling station only sold petrol. People were in long queues hoping that they could purchase fuel at a filling station at the Hambantota town. The fuel shortage has affected the fisheries sector. Fishermen in Hambantota didn't go out to sea as they didn't have fuel for their boats. They were in queue for kerosene this morning. People were in queue at a filling station in the Gaul town which had run out of fuel. Many filling stations were closed in the Kurunegala town. However, only one fuel station sold petrol. People of Ratmalana were also in queue for fuel today. Our correspondent reported that the roads were blocked in the area due to the queue.
Now, Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro has replaced his energy minister. The replacement was made after the state-run oil company Petrobras increased fuel prices. Moving on, the US dollar is selling at 385 rupees in commercial banks today. The buying price has been recorded at 370 rupees. The selling price of the British sterling pound was recorded at 476 rupees and the buying rate at 441 rupees. Also in local news, officials say public transport services are not functioning properly during the 7-hour curfew window. General Manager of Sri Lanka Railways, Dhammika Jayasundara, told Newsfirst there were train delays. He said these railway workers faced difficulties in coming to work.
State-run buses did not function properly when curfew was lifted at 7 this morning. Sri Lanka Transport Board Chairman Kingsley Ranawaka said the delays were because employees could not report to work on time. He added that long-distance buses are not in operation as the curfew will be reimposed at 2 p.m. The Sri Lanka Transport Commission says it's taking steps to recommence intercity buses once again. Sri Lanka Private Bus Owners Association Chairman Gemunu Wijeratna said steps have been taken to recommence intra-provincial bus services. Large crowds were seen at the Kurunegala town after curfew was lifted this morning. A poor turnout of teachers and students were seen at schools in Kurunegala, although schools reopened in the area. There were few students at schools in Badulla as well. This was the situation at the Polonnaruwa town this morning. A large crowd had gathered at the Hatton town as curfew was lifted. The Badegama town was empty even though curfew was lifted. The Hambantota town was also empty today. This was the situation in Gaul this morning. Long queues were seen near the Satosa outlet in Mathura today.
Also in news that made headlines this afternoon, a tourism union has revealed the plans to sell the Uchimunia island of Kalpitia to a Swiss company.
While emergency regulations are in effect, plans are being made to sell the Uchimunia island of Kalpitia, which is important to the tourism sector, to a Swiss company. This is to be sold off at a cost of $417 million. There are no cabinet ministers or responsible officials. Some officials are now destroying valuable tourist landmarks in our country. This would drag the tourism sector down. Prasanna Rantunga had obtained cabinet approval for this in 2020. He is not the minister. How can this take place now? They signed the agreement with New Fortress Energy in a similar way at midnight. We won't allow this to happen.
මේ වැඩේ පිටිපස්සේ ඉන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා සංචාරක අධිකාරිය ශ්‍රී ලංකා සංචාරක අමාත්‍යාංශය.
The Sri Lanka Tourism Authority and the Tourism Ministry is behind this. The Uchimunia Island was vested with the Sri Lanka Tourism Authority. In 2020, they had formulated plans to sell this off. They are selling this island based on the value that was estimated in 2000. If they are selling this in 2022, then we have to see by how much the value has changed. Inflation has grown up drastically compared to 2000. The value of our currency has also changed. How can they sell this island in 2022 based on the value that was estimated in 2000?
ගිහිල්ලා මේ මුදලයාගේ වෙනස් වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් කොහොමද මේ මුදලකට ඒ 2000 හදපු එස්ටිමේට් වලට 2022 දී මේ වගේ දූපතක් විකිනෙන්නේ?
Taking a look at your weather forecast this afternoon. The Met Department says heavy rains are expected in the western, Sabaragamuwa and central provinces. Now, heavy rains are also expected in the Galle and Matra districts. Wind speeds may also increase in some areas, and the people are requested to take precautions from lightning. Now, 5 sluice gates were opened in the Mahavali Dam due to the heavy rains in Polgola yesterday. Irrigation engineers have asked the residents in the lowland areas in close proximity to the dam to act vigilantly during this time. Now shifting attention towards news overseas. North Korea has ordered a strict national lockdown after confirming its first official COVID-19 infections.
North Korean media reported an Omicron outbreak in its capital Pyongyang, but did not state the number of cases. The Korean Central News Agency reported that leader Kim Jong-un was in emergency talks to prepare the nation's response. Foreign media reported that North Korea has not administered a COVID-19 vaccine program to its population. Observers believe the virus has long been present in the country.
And with that, we wrap up this edition of Lunchtime News here on News First, where the people come first. Thank you for watching. A very good day to you and take care.